Alright, so I got about 10 minutes left. I want to go ahead and touch on, real quick, just this very interesting article that I found on The Hill, talking about how the GOP came to dominate and was dominated by the rural voters. So I don't have too much time, but I'm going to try and touch on it a little bit. Let's just get right into it. So, The Hill is doing a bit of a series about how about the demographics of the country and how the country is changing and how the political trends are changing. And they have an article here, and it says how the GOP came to dominate and be dominated by rural voters. And it says here, as recently as 2009, Democrats represented 10 out of the 17 U.S. House districts through which the Ohio River flows. Now they hold 2, accounting for only 40 miles of the riverfront. The districts that Democrats hold are both urban seats in Pittsburgh and Louisville. So this is a trend that's been going on in the Democratic Party for a long time now, that really accelerated in last year, where they've been losing pretty much everywhere except for urban areas. They've been losing everywhere else. So it says here, the changing political sentiments and economic undercurrents of the Ohio River Valley have been magnified in rural regions across America. Rural counties, already struggling to hang on, felt the pinch of the economic recession most acutely and blamed politicians most harshly. Rural America is adrift. It's dying, and it's voting increasingly Republican. In 2016, Trump won a higher percentage of the vote in rural communities, 62%, than any Republican presidential candidate in modern times, according to exit polls. George W. Bush won 60% of the rural vote in 2000. So, this is saying that one thing that I don't agree with is that what they're saying that rural America is dying, which sort of implies that it's hopeless and that they're dying, that they won't be able to be revived, which is what they're kind of implying. I think that's just total nonsense. I think that there is still hope, but we just need to be very smart about the economy and about jobs and about opportunity and about education as well. I mean, education is a big issue too. Education, jobs, healthcare, quality of life kind of things. And they're saying that people in these communities that have been really struggling have been becoming more and more right-wing. Now, Democrats and liberals try and spin this, and they try and say, oh no, they're actually left-wing, but they only voted for Trump because Hillary was not very populist, and Trump fooled them into thinking that he was a populist. But that's just a total lie, because actually, as it turns out, polls actually show that people who voted for Trump, who voted for Obama, they were motivated by the economy and also by social issues. So the most likely sort of explanation is that not that they were voted for Obama and then were hesitant but voted for Trump. They were voting for Obama they were hesitant to vote for him, but they voted for Trump with enthusiasm. Because with Obama was running against John McCain, who had no charisma and didn't have good ideas about anything. And this was in the middle of the recession as well, so he was out there saying, oh yeah, I'm going to be George Bush 2.0. So that's why nobody wanted that. So everyone who was living in these communities, they all said, Obama's a little bit out there with the whole social issues thing, and I really kind of hate that. But at the same time, like, I want jobs. And he's saying, oh yeah, I'm going to bring back jobs, and I'm going to bring back the economy. So I guess I gotta vote for him. But the Democrats, they spin that and they say that no, they were actually enthusiastic for Obama, but they were hesitant for Trump. But according to the polls that say that are talking about that show the issues that they actually care about when it comes to the economy and cultural and social issues, it shows that they were actually way more enthusiastic about voting for Donald Trump than they were about Barack Obama ever. So, I mean, it's just what we have is just something that's is a lot of spin, and they'll always try and say, oh, they're left wing, they just voted for Trump because Hillary was a bad candidate, and Trump, they say that Trump is a fake populist. If Trump was a fake populist, then he would have never run as a Republican, Because think about it, if he was just an opportunist and he just wanted power and he didn't care about the actual issues, he could have just run as a Democrat and it would have been so much easier for him. Because he would have had the media on his side, he would have had the entire establishment on his side. And he would have been able to say just the generic liberal things, and there probably would have been a really awful Republican nominee like Jeb Bush, who would have lost like immediately. It would have been no contest. So the idea that he's not a real populist, he put so much on the line. Think about how much he put on the line by even running. I mean, he was always seen before this. Donald Trump was seen as like a really like goofy, like really lovable celebrity kind of character. He was like a big celebrity. Everyone loved him. He was like, you know, American. He was like an American icon. Donald Trump, like oh yeah, like he was like the image of success, the American dream. Everyone loved him. Then he ran, and that all changed. If he didn't actually care about the issues, he could have just run as a Democrat, and he would have been showered with admiration by the media and everybody. But instead he ran as a Republican, and he was showered with just so much hatred from the media and from the entire establishment. And yet he didn't give in. If he was actually just looking for attention and for power, he would have taken the easy way. He would have run as a Democrat and just would have lied and said, oh yeah, I care about all these, I care about, you know, diversity and tolerance and immigration and all that. And he would have won easily, because Republicans would have had a terrible candidate like Jeb Bush, who would have just lost no matter what. I mean, Jeb Bush would have had no chance. So he could have done that, and that would have been so easy for him. But he ran as a Republican because he actually cares about things. He cares about the issues. He cares about not just economics, but also cultural and social issues. So he does genuinely care about the people. And look, he's not always right, but he's a good guy in his heart, you know? Like he's not always right about everything, but I believe that he genuinely thinks that what he's doing is what's best for the country, and I applaud that. So anyway, back to the article. It says here, this is something that I hate. It says, but the GOP's increasing reliance on votes from rural areas dominated by blue-collar whites has drawn the party into a demographic box, one that threatens the party's future, as more diverse groups of voters elsewhere rise in political power, and at some point, the party's geographic advantage will be overwhelmed by the demographic disadvantage. So this is something that I've been seeing a lot. They've been saying this since like 2012. And the election should have been their wake-up call. It should have been their wake-up call saying, oh yeah, you're wrong about that. But they keep on saying it. And they're saying that basically, oh, the party's going to die out because they can't appeal to non-white voters and the new generation, what they call it, the new American majority, something like that. They say, oh, you're gonna die out because you can't appeal to them. No, it's the other way around. The Democrats are in a box. Because they're confined to just like, what do they have? They have like minorities, millennials. By the way, millennials and minorities are not turning out for Democrats at all anymore. Their turnout has been so low lately with Democrats and everything, because they're not enthusiastic about the party. So the idea that they're gonna be the ones to give them a permanent majority is just so wrong. And also, don't even forget that Generation Z, which is the generation after millennials, Generation Z is still growing up right now, and they're not able to really vote, and they don't really have much of a voice yet. But Generation Z is the most conservative generation since World War II. So I don't want to hear anything about how, oh, the Republican Party is doomed because they can't appeal to the new generation and to millennials and to minorities and to women. I don't want to hear any of that, because Generation Z is on the way, and Generation Z is going to be a big impact. So all this talk about how, oh, it's so hopeless, rural communities are never going to recover, the Republican Party is never going to recover, it's all lies and spin. Don't believe any of it.